Hi, I'm Amy. Welcome to our crystal candle making tutorial. Today we'll be covering the steps of candle making ingredients and also how to apply essential oils and crystal stones onto your energy candles. So let us first introduce our very own crystal candle making DIY kit. So in our box you can see that we have a candle jar. So this is the glass jar that we'll be using later on for our candles. And we will also have a metal pitcher. This is very important. We'll be using this pitcher to cook our wax and melt them. We will also have a kitchen thermometer to measure the temperature of our wax. And of course, we need to have our main character. The soy wax is very important. We'll be using them to make our candles today. We also have a little pack that contains the wick that will be used to burn the candles, the tip, and the glue dot. And we will also be having a wooden stick to stir the candles. And last but not least, the other star ingredients of our candles, we'll be using essential oils of your own choice, of course, to make our own candles, and of course your crystal chip stones. So apart from the DIY kit, you might also want to prepare the following items when you are setting up. Number one is you might want to have a kitchen scale so that you can measure the weight of the wax and the essential oils later on. You might also want to have your kitchen stove and saucepan ready, of course, so that you can boil your wax. You might also want to get ready of this pairs of tweezers. This will be used later on to drop our crystal stones onto the candle. And also one more thing is to prepare some gloves. So gloves are very important, especially when you're handling the wax. It's hot, and also essential oils to prevent and protect your hands. Okay, so let's start first with the ingredients of candle making. So first of all, let's talk about the wax. So now there are many wax out there commercially, which is more common usually is this paraffin wax. So we usually see these a lot that is sold by big candle brands. So this is a very common and cost-effective type of wax. It's actually a product by petroleum. So the benefit of paraffin wax is that it's very cost-effective. It holds fragrance strongly. However, the downside of it is that it produces black soot and it may be harmful for our body and the environment. So an alternative to the paraffin wax is the soy wax, which we will be using today. So soy wax actually are a byproduct of soybeans. As compared to paraffin wax, soy wax are more eco-friendly. It produces less black soot. However, as compared to the paraffin wax, the soy wax will hold lesser fragrance. However, we still prefer to use the soy wax as it's more organic and healthy for our body and the environment. And there are also many other wax out there like coconut wax, beeswax, palm wax, and so on. So today we'll be focusing on the soy wax today. And moving on to the next ingredient, which is the fragrance. Now there are two types of fragrance. In order to create a scented candles, we need fragrance, right, to contain the candle wax. So the first type of fragrance is with what we use, the essential oil. Essential oils are originally sourced from plants. What we do is we extract the essence from plants. It could be from the roots, the leaves, the branches, and so on, so that we can actually infuse the fragrance from the plants into our products. Now, on the other hand, we also have fragrance oil. Now, fragrance oil do not come from plants. It's actually created from the science lab. So of course, because of its artificial property, we're able to manufacture fragrance oil that is cost-effective and favorable to the human nose. It smells good. However, as compared to the essential oils, fragrance oil do not have the organic and healthy benefits that helps our body. On this, we have lavender. Lavender is a very popular and powerful essential oil in aromatherapy. It helps with sleeping problems, it helps people to calm down, and many other types of functions. Like for example, we have ylang ylang. Ylang ylang is very good for overthinking, grief, and it's also very good for calming. We also have frankincense. Frankincense is very good for mental clarity and focus. So after knowing the benefits and differences between essential oil and fragrance oil, there's no right and wrong answer. It's up to you. Fragrance oil is generally also still highly adopted in the fragrance industry. And it's also need to be mindful when we actually choose and purchase those ingredients into our own products. On the other hand, we also have the other characters of our topic today, which is the crystal stones. So if you look at the crystal stones here, we have many types of them, right? My personal favorite is this one. It's the amethyst. It's in purple in color. It's very good to promote calming, rejuvenation, basically grounding. Alright, we also have these two. I always like to pair these two types of stones together. This is clear quartz and this is black tourmaline. Now, clear quartz is very helpful to promote mental clarity, whereas black tourmaline is very helpful to remove negative energy. Alright, now then we have also the rose quartz. Now, rose quartz here is very famous and it's widely used to promote self-love, connection, and relationship. So something that we all need as well. And moving on, we also have the red agate. Red agate is a very precious stone. It's used for protection, grounding, security. And the last two is actually also something very rare, which is we have this lapis stone, the blue lapis lazuli. Lapis lazuli is similarly to the amethyst. It's very good for calming, to grounding, and to promote relaxation as well. Last but not least, also my personal favorite, we have the green aventurine. So what it means is basically prosperity and wealth. So we covered the soy wax, we covered the fragrance, we also covered the crystal chips. Now the last thing we need to know is about the wick, right? So in candles we actually have two types of wick in general. The first one is the cotton wick. It's the usual kind of wick that we use to burn the soy wax. The second type is actually what we use here, the wooden wick. So those two are actually the same. It serves as a purpose for us to burn the candles. However, wooden wick is actually thinner, so therefore wooden wick can promote longer lasting burning as compared to the usual cotton wick. And also it's a bit more eco-friendly, even though the cost is a little bit higher for wood wick. We also try to prefer to use wood wick because it produces less black soot. Alright, so let's proceed to demonstrate the process of crystal candle making. So first, you need to prepare your metal pitcher. Right, so how do we know how much wax do we need, right? In our tutorial, we'll also be attaching a few links for you inside the folder where you'll be able to access the candle making calculator, essential oil calculator, and an online library of essential oils and functions. So for today, we'll be making a 200-gram candle like this. Alright, so we'll be using a 250-gram volume jar to contain that 200-gram candles. So I'll put it here first. And if you look at the calculator, if I want to produce a 200-gram soy wax candle, I will basically need a 158-gram worth of soy wax, which is already pre-packed in our box here. Okay, so now what you need to do is to open up your wax and pour those wax into your metal pitcher. So pour it carefully and make sure that it achieves to 158 grams. Which usually we have already measured the weight of the wax previously. So you can see it's actually just nice. Alright. Okay, so once you have filled the metal pitcher with the soy wax, we are going to boil the wax. Now we will be using water bath because wax are actually very sensitive in the melting point, so we cannot directly heat the soy wax, but we need to actually put them into a water bath. So let's go and boil our wax now. Now we'll just place the soy wax onto a water bath and let it melt until it's fully transparent. So make sure you boil the wax fully until it looks like this. Now once we have boiled the wax fully, we need to measure their temperature. So take out your kitchen thermometer here and on the button. So you will be looking at degrees Celsius. Each wax is very different. You need to check with your respective supplier what would be the best point to pour our fragrance. Now, why is it important for us to measure the temperature of our wax? Firstly, if it's too hot, your fragrance will evaporate easily. And if it's too cold, it will be very difficult to blend and let the fragrance sit into the wax. Now, for our soy wax, because it's called Cara Soy Wax, it's a UK brand, their recommended pouring point is between 45 to 55 degrees Celsius. So now let's check the temperature now. Because it has just finished boiling, it's at an extremely high temperature. We are looking at between 70 something degrees Celsius. So we need to be able to wait until the wax cools down to an ideal temperature of 45 to 55 degrees. So let it sit there. Now, it will take about 5 to 10 minutes depending on the temperature of your room for the wax to fully cool down to the desired temperature. Now, while waiting for our soy wax to fully cool down, that's where we will take out our empty glass jar and also our wick. So in this case, I will demonstrate to you how to stick the wood wick onto our candle jar. So open up the package. You will see that we have 2 pieces of wood wick for a 200-gram candle. We also have a metal tip, a base to hold the wick later on. And of course, we must have an important thing, which is the glue dot. So now what we need to do is to place both the wood wick onto the metal base. Now, why are we using 2 pieces of wood wick? It really depends on the size of the candles that we are making. The larger the candle size, of course, the more wider or the thicker our wick should be. Because we are looking at a relatively large candles to make, we need to use at least 2 pieces of wood wick for the flame to be long lasting, enough to burn the circumference of this kind of candles. So now, let's place the wick on top of the metal tip, like this. And you will also be using the glue dot. So open up the glue dot, alright, and stamp the metal tip onto the glue dot so that it sticks underneath your metal tip like this. Okay, and when you're ready, now what you need to do is to place the wood wick onto the center of your candle jar by pressing it firmly. You want to make sure that you let it hold tightly so that the wooden wick does not float or fall over when you're pouring the wax later on. So make sure you press it tight and make sure it's also in the center of the jar. Alright, so it looks like this. It should be standing and in the middle of the glass jar. Okay. Now, the next question that we want to answer is, what fragrance do we use? What crystals do we use? Now, it's really subjective. It depends on your personal preference. You can choose either essential oil or fragrance oil, or even blend these two together to create your desired fragrance. So for the purpose of this demonstration, I'll be using 2 types of essential oil. The first one is lavender. which is from a French origin. So lavender, as we know, it's very good for promoting sleep and relaxation. And we also have pine. So the pine here is more of adding the flavor of a refreshing tone to blend in together with our lavender fragrance. Alright, so how do we know how much of fragrance oil or essential oil to add? That's where we will also be attaching another link for you, which is the essential oil blend calculator. So based on the weight of soy wax and fragrance oil that you need, you'll be able to know exactly how many mLs or how many drops do we need for these different types of fragrance or essential oils that you use. So I've calculated for a 200 gram soy wax candle, we will need 158 gram of soy wax and 14 gram of essential oil. Now, if I need 14 gram of essential oil and I'll be using two types of fragrance, by applying the ratio onto the calculator, I will need to drop 7 ml of lavender and 7 ml of pine. Alright, so now we just need to wait until the wax has fully cooled down to 55 degrees Celsius. Anywhere between 45 to 55 degrees of Celsius is fine. And once it drops to that temperature, we will be then inserting the different essential oils based on the recommended volume onto our jar first. Alright, so we will be blending them together. Alright, now, so it has already reached, let's say, 55 degrees. Now take out the kitchen thermometer first, put it at the side. At this moment, you want to make sure that you are wearing your gloves because you'll be handling with the highly concentrated essential oils. So it can be any kind of plastic or rubber glove just to protect your hands. Now also get ready your stirrer. So inside your package, you also have a wooden stick. Alright. Okay, so you want to put the wooden stick onto your metal pitcher. Now, because we will actually need 7 grams or 7 milliliters of essential oil, lavender and also pine each. Now, we will place the metal pitcher onto the jar. Okay, of course without the stirring. Now make sure that you are measuring the weight, right? So we want to put 7 grams of lavender. So you can start dropping until your kitchen scale shows you 7 grams. Right, so keep dropping until it reaches 7 grams. Okay, so try to slow down when it's close to the desired volume. Okay, I can really smell the calming fragrance from lavender now. Okay, so when it's around 7 grams, you want to add the remaining fragrance, which is the pine as well. So in total, I should be looking at around 14 grams in total. Okay, I will add a bit more. Okay, it does not necessarily have to reach 14 grams. It's really up to you on how you want the strength of fragrance. Feel free to test and learn, try and error. So now we need to do is put the wooden spoon into the metal pitcher and stir it. Right? Make sure the essential oils are fully blended into your wax. Now once it's done, take out the wooden stick, get ready your glass jar, put on the side, and we'll be pouring the wax directly onto the jar. Okay, pour until it's fully onto the glass jar. Now, it's common sometimes that your wood wick is not stable, so in this case, you can also use other wood wick or maybe just a stick to secure in between. So these are those typical tricks and tips that we usually teach our candle making students in our workshop. Now, the next part of it is to patiently wait until the wax here has fully cooled down and solidified into a white looking kind of candles. Now our candle wax has fully solidified and it looks like this. However, not all soy wax and burning process or solidifying process of wax looks perfect. So you can come in a little closer. You can see there's a lot of imperfection, right? So I'm using a separate candle wax for an example. Now, what should we do when we see all these imperfections and holes, and also you can see a bit of stain, wax stain on the side? Right. So firstly, you might want to invest a tool, a very useful tool, and it's not very expensive. It's a hot air gun. Okay, so this hot air gun is very useful for us to basically refine our candle surface to make it look smoother. Now I just need to on my hot air gun. Face it towards the wax. Let it melt. Now you can see the surface is much smoother, all right, it's cleaner, all right, and we are looking at a very flat surface, which is good. Now, once we have a little surface of the melted wax on top, this will be the best time for us to drop our crystal chips onto the aromatherapy candles. Now, pick your favorite crystal chips. So in this case, I'll be using the green aventurine stone. It's really up to you on how you want to place those chips. You can also use the tweezers or just use your fingers to drop the stones onto the wax. I would prefer to drop the crystal chips around the edge of the candle jar so that it doesn't touch the cotton wick here. Feel free to use multiple types of crystal chips to achieve the kind of energy and functions that you want to achieve. But I'll just keep it simple here by putting on the green aventurine. So if you need to adjust the placing, you can use the tweezer, right, to adjust the position. So if you see that the wax is too hard to fully glue the crystal chips onto the wax, you might want to use the hot air gun again. Yeah, so the hot air gun will just help to melt the surface of the wax a little bit so that the crystal chips can integrate well with the whole candle. Now we just need to wait until it fully cool down and solidify. And if you still see a few stains, feel free to use a piece of cloth and you can dab it with some alcohol or soap. Alcohol is the easiest in this way, and then you can just wipe it at the side here to make it clean. Or you can also use a cotton bud. Dab it with alcohol and then you can actually clean it much easier. And here you go. So we have a wonderful crystal infused energy candle with great aromatherapy benefits for your body and your space. So one is ready to be packaged. You can actually put it in our little window pouch here carefully. try it. Here you go. We actually have a very divine crystal energy candles for you. Remember to visit our website to browse through our divine collection of crystal candles and DIY kit. Remember to relax, to clear your mind and space so that you can think and act with purpose and live fully. Thank you so much and see you again.